My name is Natalie, and I am with the Canadian Mental Health Association of New Brunswick. I am located in the Miramichi area, which is generally where I work from, except during a pandemic when we are all provincial employees. CMHA itself has been in operation since 1918, which is 102 years. And I always like to point out that CMHA has been around for 102 years. I have not. Anyways, so I'm very pleased to see you all here. CMHA of New Brunswick is located 18 different places throughout New Brunswick. For a small province like New Brunswick, that is pretty big. We have a provincial office in Fredericton. We have a large office in Moncton, another office in St. John, and scattered throughout the rest of the province in 11 different places are people like Katie and myself. We're known as community program coordinators. And generally we cover a zone. Right now we're all provincial. We also have, see, I get talking and don't even know to change slides. We have Provincial Peer Support Program, which is a certified program that seeks to train individuals with lived experience with mental illness. Their goal is to instill hope and inspire others going through similar circumstances that recovery is indeed possible. And these are people with lived experience helping others with lived experience. We have an employment program, Working Stronger Together, in the Charlotte County area. Sadly, this is just the Charlotte County area, but it is a wonderful program. We know that when we're working, we feel better about ourselves. So this program provides employment and or educational services needed to job-ready individuals living with diversified disabilities, living in the Charlotte County area. And that's very interesting that it's diversified disabilities and not just mental health. So it doesn't really matter what the disability is. They provide access to funding for workplace accommodations, assistive technology, and wage subsidies. They provide step-by-step support for those moving into post-secondary education. Also, they provide assistance with resumes, cover letters, interview techniques, as well as working with employers and providing on-the-job supports. Now, this next thing I tell you blew me away the first time I heard it. So brace yourselves and be prepared. Last year, CMHA of New Brunswick served over 85,000 citizens. Can you believe that? That is huge. So the question is, what is mindfulness? I mean, we hear a lot about it, but what is it? So people have been practicing mindfulness for centuries. Today, mindfulness has become increasingly popular, making its way into therapies and schools, the media, and other practices like yoga, meditation, coloring, etc. So what is it you think when you think of mindfulness? And you can put that in the chat, but you know, for years, when I heard mindfulness, I thought, just emptying your mind of everything and transcendental meditation, that type of thing. That's what I thought of. But it's not just that. Katie, if you see stuff in the chat that you'd like to share, please go ahead.
Being present in the moment that we are in.
It totally is. That is what mindfulness. They say mindfulness is observing without judgment. Sounds easy. Really difficult because we're a very judgmental society. Well, mindfulness is the practice of observing the present moment without judgment. While popular culture has given us a number of definitions, rules, how to, how not to, what to buy, what to think, how to feel, mindfulness at the core is one thing: the practice of observing without judgment. So how do we be mindful? One thing I love is people say practicing mindfulness. I'm not sure that truer words were ever spoken, because it is something that we have to practice. So observing without judgment. So how do we observe? Well, when we observe, we only take note of what is actually occurring in the present moment, much like a security camera. It's observing the facts, right? So how do we observe without judgment? Well, when we make an observation, we do not add to that observation. That's much easier said than done. Katie, is there anything in the chats that you would like to share, or is it good?
Yes, mindfulness is grounding yourself and being aware of how you feel. So that ties in very much with kind of what you've been saying.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So how do we practice mindfulness? So mindfulness is not about what you are doing, but how you're doing something. So the question is your mind full or mindful? I have to tell you, many times my mind is full. Not often is it mindful. Very different things, aren't they? We often associate mindfulness with activities like meditation and deep breathing, walking, coloring. These activities, however, are not inherently mindful. It's how we do them that is either mindful or mindless. So the walking analogy. Walking is the perfect analogy for being mindful or mindless. While we walk, we're usually thinking of one or two things: where we are going, mindless; rushing, planning, head down to go as quickly as you can without tripping over anything or turning your ankle. That's what I think about. Or what we are observing in the moment. So mindful: what is the temperature? What are you seeing? What sounds are the leaves making beneath your feet? Your breathing, all that type of thing. So what do I do when I can't stop thinking? Well, you move on. When you do inevitably have thoughts or make judgments, simply notice them like you would any other observation, and bring your attention back to your anchor. That's what it's there for. Anchors to bring your wandering mind back. So that's breathing, mantras, affirmations, sounds, sights, etc. Your anchor is whatever it is that you're observing, like your senses. Or you might have to bring yourself back to the anchor twice or 20 plus times over the course of your practice. That is okay. There's no such thing as being good or bad at mindfulness, as we're all different every day. The key is persistent practice. And you'll see down at the bottom, there is a YouTube channel, Headspace, Changing Perspective. I'm going to leave that there for just a second. So if anybody is interested in that, I wonder, can I copy and paste off of this? No, I absolutely cannot.
And Terry Lynn just mentioned that being mindful takes daily practice and that it doesn't come naturally, very much like what you've been saying. It's certainly a practice for sure.
It is a practice. And I'm not saying even that we get good at it. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. But it's more about the trying, the being in the moment, the taking the time. That's really what the mindfulness is about. I guess I always thought before I knew better, that mindfulness was really emptying your mind, but it isn't. It's focusing everything on one thing. It's being in the moment, that one moment. So, boy, this is fun. Let's practice. So I want you to look at this picture. And tell me what you observe. And you can put it in your chat. And Katie, when there's a few of them, if you don't mind telling me. Okay, somebody has their hand raised. I don't know. Are you guys able to talk? You have mute buttons that you can unmute? Or am I making?
I'm not sure about the mute buttons, but I'll read to you what I see.
Sure, that'd be great.
Well-used teacup. Someone said that I want to wash that mug. Someone else mentioned lively plant.
Okay. So the observations are your factual details. Okay. The question is, are we making true observations or judgments? So the true observations, there are coffee rings around the cup. The judgments are that cup hasn't been washed. Okay. If we're making judgments, even the judgments themselves should go unjudged. We are humans and our brains are going to think. Acknowledge it. Be okay that it happened and continue the exercise. For example, if you thought to yourself that that cup should be washed, acknowledge that you thought it and bring your focus to the next thing you see. For instance, the plant. And somebody already said the plant, didn't they? If you thought to yourself that you love coffee and should go buy a new mug, acknowledge that you thought it and bring your focus to the next thing you see. A reminder, judgments are still judgments, whether they're positive or negative. See, I look at the cup holding the pens and pencils, and I see the highlighter with the peach color end, and I think to myself, and this is a judgment, oh, peach, why would they pick peach? I don't like peach. But that's a judgment. So I say to myself, that's a judgment. What else do you see? And you just keep going. So why do we practice mindfulness? So not only have the countless benefits of mindfulness been thoroughly researched, but these benefits are universal. Mindfulness has benefits across numerous sectors of life, including health benefits, social benefits, professional benefits, and benefits to well-being. With so many benefits in so many core areas of life, there are no limitations to who mindfulness can help, regardless of age, ability, gender, health, or otherwise. There's something for everyone. So let's explore the many benefits. So evidence-based benefits. So if we look at health, and actually let's go across. So we're going to go health, cognitive, and personal, okay? So under health, we have reduces stress. Under the cognitive, we have it improves focus. And under personal, it's less judgmental. Under health, we have improved sleep, cognitive, greater memory. So even if we just look at those two right there, if I sleep better at night, is my memory better the next day? Yes, it is. Because each area has ramifications on the next area, okay? So for personal, I'm less reactive and I have increased self-control. And if I have improved sleep, if I'm sleeping better, then it's only natural that I'm going to be less reactive and that I have more self-control. So again, looking at health, I have improved brain health, which leads to greater learning under my cognitive function, and personal, less rumination and daydreaming. Rumination is like chewing things over and over. We talk about cows and that they ruminate. That's chewing things over again and again and again, okay? So then again, under health, we have therapeutic benefits for mental health and mental illness, and more cognitive flexibility under your cognitive. So we can see there are many benefits to mindfulness. So in other words, it makes us more confident, fewer cognitive distortions, better relationships, more patience, more efficient and attentive, better education outcomes, less anxiety, better immune function, less overthinking, greater emotional control. My goodness, this sounds pretty good for you, doesn't it? It also has greater ability to relax. You're less critical. You have greater self-awareness. You're a better caregiver. You're more present, less performance anxiety, more accepting of constructive criticism, and better health. The point is to recognize that mindfulness has so many real world benefits. So, how does mindfulness have so many benefits? Well, it changes your brain, it changes your hormones, and it changes your perception. So mindfulness changes your brain, okay? Let's look at that. Regular mindfulness practices increases gray matter in your brain. And mindfulness increases gray matter in regions related to focus, present time awareness, reasoning, memory, and emotional regulation. So your brain gets stronger the same way that your muscles do. So regular activation. However, instead of gaining muscle to get stronger, your brain gains gray matter. Gray matter is an insulating substance that wraps itself around our brains signaling pathways, making signals travel faster. As a result, our brain is able to move faster and more efficiently. So if we look at the guitar here, and there's an analogy around the guitar. So when learning to play an instrument, for example, the guitar, we need to stop and think before every note. Have any of you ever taken guitar lessons? I did. So when you're first learning and you're learning your chords and you do a basic, let's say a basic G chord, because that's one of the first chords you learn, you know, your finger goes here, here, and here, okay? And you have to think about it each time. My finger goes here, here, and here, okay? Oh, but you gotta hold them all at the same time. So it takes some real thought. So I put my fingers there and then I hit my chords and it makes something like a musical sound. Not in the beginning, but it does eventually. And then we go strum, strum, strum. Music's choppy because your brain can't communicate with your fingers fast enough and quickly enough to easily transition. With practice, however, you are able to play a whole song without stopping between the notes. The reason you're able to do the whole song is because when we practice a skill, we constantly reactivate the part of our brain necessary to do that skill. It is in that reactivation that your brain grows gray matter. For example, the more you practice, the more gray matter. I should have practiced more, just saying. The faster your brain tells your fingers what notes to play next, it eventually becomes so fast that it feels automatic. But that's just signals being sent at an undetectable speed. So studies show that after only 8 weeks of regular mindfulness practice, brain scans could detect increased gray matter in regions related to focus, present time awareness, reasoning, memory, and emotional regulation. This is how mindfulness helps us to learn faster, remember more, think critically, focus, and other things. So mindfulness changes your hormones. So mindfulness also helps to manage cortisol levels, and your cortisol levels are your stress hormones, okay? Well, there you go. Cortisol is our stress hormone, which in excess can lead to a number of negative impacts on our physical and mental health. So managing cortisol is how mindfulness results in better immune health, fewer anxious and depressive symptoms, and less stress and other stress-related symptoms. So excess cortisol puts a strain on our organs, including our heart, higher blood pressure, poorer sleep quality, more anxiety and depression, digestion issues, weaker immune response, and a general overall loss of well-being. That doesn't sound great, does it? So mindfulness helps manage those cortisol levels so that these things don't happen to us. So mindfulness changes your perception. Mindfulness has so many social and personal benefits because it acts as a buffer between our experiences and our reaction to that experience. Practicing mindfulness gives us the skills to slow down and process a situation for what it is before responding. So without mindfulness, generally we have an experience and we react to that experience, right? One happens immediately following the other. But with mindfulness, we're able to experience, process, and then respond. It's more about taking action as opposed to reaction. Does that make sense to everyone? So with so many benefits, what's stopping us? Well, there's some misconceptions and there's some realities. So the misconception, I need to completely quiet my mind. I'll be honest, I had that one. But the reality is our minds are made to think. The misconception is there's a right way and a wrong way. There is no failure or success. Mindfulness is not something that you succeed or fail at. It's an ongoing practice that changes every day. Someday our brains are busier than others, and our practices might feel easy or more challenging. Neither outcome is good or bad. The only good is choosing to practice. So how about this misconception? There are expenses. The reality is you have what you need, a brain. The misconception is there isn't the right time. Reality says there's always going to be distractions. If we wait in a perfectly quiet room or a time void of interruptions, we'll never practice. Instead of feeling frustrated with the moving world around you, decide that the sounds, smells, feelings, or sights are just a part of today's practice. So the misconception, practicing is complicated. The reality is there are no rules. The current understanding of yoga classes or 20-minute meditation sessions can make mindfulness practices feel effortful or chore-like. Instead, it should be a pleasant experience that we can access whenever we so choose. So, progressive muscle relaxation. We're going to do this all together, okay? So, make sure you're sitting comfortably somewhere. Or if you're in a room where you can, lie down, okay? So we're going to take 3 deep belly breaths, exhaling slowly each time, imagining the tension draining out of your body. I'm going to give you a moment to do that. Now, clench your fists and hold for 10 seconds before releasing and feeling the tension drain out of your body for 15 seconds. Tighten your biceps by drawing your forearms upwards towards your shoulders. Make a muscle with both arms. Hold. And then relax. Tighten your triceps. That's the muscles underneath your upper arms. By holding out your arm in front of you, locking your elbow. Hold. And then relax. Tense the muscles in your forehead by raising your eyebrows as high as you can. Hold. And then relax. I just noticed as I was looking at the screen, you guys definitely have an advantage over me because my eyebrows going up was not attractive. So now we're going to tense the muscles around our eyes by clenching your eyelids shut. Hold. and then relax. Imagine sensations of deep relaxation spreading all throughout your eyes. Tighten your jaws by opening your mouth so widely that you stretch the muscles around the hinges of your jaw. Now hold that and relax. Tighten the muscles in the back of your neck by pulling your head way back as if you're going to touch your forehead to your back. And hold and relax. Tighten, oh, sorry, I missed one. Tighten your shoulders as if you're going to touch your ears. Hold. And relax. Tighten the muscles in your shoulder blades by pushing your shoulder blades back. I'm going to hold that and relax. Tighten your stomach muscles by sucking in your stomach. Hold and relax. Tighten your buttocks by pulling them together. Hold and then relax. Squeeze the muscles in your thighs. Hold and then relax. Now tighten your calf muscles by pulling your toes towards you. Hold and then relax. Tighten your feet by curling them downwards. Hold and then relax. Mentally scan your body for any leftover tension. If any muscle group remains tense, repeat the exercise for those muscle groups. So what I didn't mention at the very beginning, at the very top of your chat, I put in my email address and I put in links for our YouTube page, our Facebook page, and our website. So if you would like this progressive muscle relaxation sent to you, please send me an email and I would love to send this little exercise to you. So mindfulness activity ideas. Yeah, what are some of the mindfulness activity ideas that you have? Maybe put them up in the chat and Katie would love to tell me all about them.
Knitting is one thing that was mentioned.
Yes. I mean, we talk about yoga and all the different exercises, but anything that you can totally put your focus into, like a counted cross stitch, the diamond paintings, paint by numbers, any of those things work, right? Following a difficult pattern.
Dancing, and that's one of my personal favorites too.
Yes.
Yoga.
Really, the sky's the limit, isn't it? If we can focus our minds on what it is we're doing, observing, being in the moment, and it works for us, is that an okay practice? Sure is. So things to remember for your practice. Number one, you need to decide to practice. And you need to decide what is enough. Your mind is going to wander. Just bring it back. You will have thoughts. So return to your anchor. And mindfulness is a practice. So again, my email is right here on this back page. If you have questions, please feel free to put them in the Q&A, and I would love to answer them if I possibly can. I'll give it my best shot, and if I can't, I will find the answers for you and get back to you. So I'm just going to give you a moment for that. And if there are no questions or anything that you would like, remember, if you would like that muscle progressive relaxation technique, I'd love to send it to you. Just shoot me off an email. I'd like to thank you all for joining me tonight. It's been a wonderful evening. I'm going to stop the screen share. So, great. I hope you all enjoyed it this evening. It's been a pleasure spending some time with you. I always enjoy meeting new people. Wonderful. I love to hear that. You're welcome. I get as much out of doing these as you guys do listening, because I learn every day when I'm doing these. All right. Thank you. I don't want to cut anybody off. Okay, if that's all, I'm going to end the meeting. Thank you all again. Hope to see you again sometime. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Katie, do you have anything you'd like to add before I close this?
No, that's everything. Thank you, Natalie.
Have a great evening, everybody.